So here we are back here at the baseball hut, and I think we've seen the Mets hit rock bottom. I know that they scored 5 runs. They scored 5 runs in the ninth inning, but you know this team has hit rock bottom. They've now lost 7 games in a row, 4 games on this road trip. I think they can get swept out of the road on the road. I mean, I could see them losing tomorrow, and I could see them definitely losing on Sunday with Carrasco pitching. But they mentioned this statistic during the game. The Mets have given up 40 runs on this road trip. 40 runs in 4 games. The pitching has been terribly mishandled. You have guys here that should not be in the major leagues, but at the same time, the pitching coach has done a terrible job. Just the result is bad. If there was, that's how it is in life. If the result is bad, then you're probably not doing a very good job. I mean, that's a pretty simple thing, I think. If you're doing a good job, the result will be there. But if you're doing a bad job, the result will that's it. And Jeremy Hefner needs to get fired. I know that the word about Steve Cohen is that he's been very supportive of the staff. He's been very supportive of the general manager, Billy Epler. I think probably because of what they did last year. But we always have to look at where we are right now as a team. This is not a good team right now. And somebody needs to be held responsible for this. I don't feel, just from what I've seen of Tyler McGill, that he is taking a step forward as a pitcher. He has a lot of talent, but he keeps making the same mistakes over and over and over. He let an error behind him. I'm not going to get on Lindor about his defense. His defense is great. But he made an error in the game trying to do more. And McGill could not find a way to gut it out and get out of that second inning or third inning or whatever it was. And McGill only went 3 innings. No team can win if your starters can't go more than 5 innings on a regular basis. And these guys are out of the game by the 4th inning. And have you noticed the bullpen has gotten worse and worse and worse as we've gone deeper into the season? I don't see an improvement here in terms of the pitching. They lead the league in walks. They lead the league in home runs. It's a bad combination for a team that's trying to just win on that day. They can't seem to score runs in the first inning. They can't seem to stop giving runs up early in a game. When you give up runs in that first inning, that second inning, the third inning, you're behind the game before the game's really settled in. And this is another situation where this team is just, as soon as the game starts, they're behind the 8 ball right away. I don't like what I was reading today. I feel like this is meant to distract us as fans. This story that came out about Alexis Diaz. We know that this particular general manager does not want to trade his prospects. And he'd have to give up guys like Alvarez, Kevin Parada, Alex Ramirez, and this Alexis Diaz type scenario of a trade. I think that was put out there to calm us down as fans, saying that the Mets are trying to get better, but it's not a closer problem. There is zero organizational depth in terms of pitching on this team and in this organization. I mentioned in the video earlier today that Epler traded 4 guys for 2 spare parts going into the trade deadline last August. 3 players in a rough trade, including J.D. Davis, and of course Colin Holderman for Vogelback last year, right before the trade deadline with the Pirates. And he's given up a lot of depth, and he's not done a good job signing players. Tommy Hunter, again, gave up 2 more home runs in this game because Buck brought him in late in the game to just get him to pitch. And 14 games for the Mets this year. Hunter has given up, I believe, 17 runs. And his ERA coming into the game was 6.65 or something like that. So it's probably over 7 at this point. He needs to be DFA'd. They DFA'd today Nagosic and his mustache. Get your mustache out of here. Get the hell out of here. Maybe we never see you again. Drew Smith, people talk about how good he is, but can he stop throwing a... Hey, stupid, stop throwing a fucking slider to these hitters. And that's what I mean, where, again, Jeremy Hefner needs to be fired. This pitching staff has not taken a step. They haven't improved. The pitching is as bad as it's been since the season started. They keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. Now, if you're making the same mistakes over and over and over again, then something is being lost in the translation. There's also a possibility that the staff is not that good. Dominic Leone, who was picked up off of, I guess he was released, the Mets picked him up. That's another example of Epler's inability to bring in good pitching. Also, him signing last year, John Curtis, who had Tommy John surgery, and the Mets had him on the 40-man roster last year. And he pitched in April, and he was terrible. Okay? Again, I know the Pirates are a young team, but the 14 runs, you can't survive. I mean, this is crazy. And they scored a lot of runs tonight, but all in the ninth inning. When they brought in Bednar, he's just trying to get get some work in. But again, Billy Epler has done a terrible job. Steve has to fire him. Okay. They need changes here. I don't see anything that's gonna improve this situation. There's not gonna be a magic wand. Tomorrow it's gonna get better. Okay. We're now over 60 games into the season. We've got 98 games to go. I don't see this situation getting better. Quite frankly. I just don't see it. And without Pete Alonso here, this offense is going to struggle to hit for power. Even with the kid behind the plate, who's been great, by the way. And I'm not happy with Buck. I know what he said in that last game that he was proud of the players. That is unacceptable. That's losing mentality. I cringed when I heard that. It was very difficult to hear that from him because he's better than that as a manager. But when you're in the muck, you don't think, and it doesn't come across well. Again, there needs to be changes here. I know that they've had a lot of general managers in here the last few years. They've had a lot of managers the last few years as well. They had this shot last year to get to the World Series. It didn't happen. That might be the Sirens now getting ready to get them out of here. But the point being is that you have players here that aren't performing. You have a general manager that did not do a good job in the offseason. They needed to bring in more power into this team. He didn't do it. They could have improved at the DH spot. He didn't do it. He could have done a better job of bringing in better pitching for the back end of this bolt, for the guys that were going to be AAA and of course coming back and forth to the major leagues. He didn't do any of that stuff. Now they're going to be off on Monday. I really believe they're not going to win the next two games, and I'm not normally so pessimistic. But they don't play well in Pittsburgh. They haven't played well in Pittsburgh in a long time. Just like they haven't played well in Atlanta in like forever. So don't be surprised if they get swept in Pittsburgh with a 9-game losing streak. They're going to be off on Monday. Moves must be made. That is the damn sure. And to be honest with you, they need to be made. Changes need to happen. A couple of things. Again, I'll go through it again. The general manager needs to be fired. Buck needs to be fired. The hitting coach needs to be fired. The pitching coach needs to be fired. Several of these players need to go. Vogelback needs to go. Hunter needs to go. Leone needs to be out of here too. That's just the start. We can talk more about this other stuff going forward. A lot of stuff will happen as we get further along. But without Pete here, I don't see this getting any better. Because at least Pete gives the Mets a chance late in the game with his home runs. It's going to be tough here the next 3 to 4 weeks. And that's really what it comes down to. So I want to thank you for coming by, watching my videos. So I watched the lowlights of this game. And thank you for watching the baseball hut. Got to be enthusiastic at the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.